Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Real Conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Nicole Jones,
And I'm Quana Terry.
and we would like to thank you for joining us here tonight. We have a great show for you, and what else?
Girl, it's just going to be a great show. We have a lot of things happening. We're just coming off of the Labor Day weekend, right? So what did you do?
Girl, I was on vacation, so it was just an amazing time. My man' birthday just passed.
Oh, happy
He enjoyed
birthday.
it, of course. And I did a lot of running around. You know, for Labor Day, you meant?
Just, it's over the week, whatever, feel free to share.
Yeah. Well, my man, we would like to say happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to my man.
Happy birthday to Nicole's
You
man.
you know who you are.
We pray more life, more blessings
Yes.
upon
Um,
them.
uh, his birthday was Sunday, and then Labor Day was the next day. Just running around, getting things together, and then of course the college kid had me running around.
Uh,
So had to do some things for her. But what about you? How are you? How are you doing?
I'm well. I cannot complain. It was a great week. I had no issues. Labor Day was fun. I had an amazing time with some really special people, and I it's just anytime we get a chance to celebrate life, we do that, and I'm glad you were able to even have that chance to celebrate with your honey. Because it's important. Celebrating life. We always like get together when there's death, but to celebrate a life is important to do so as well. So I'm happy
Absolutely.
we were able to do that. So yeah, but for the most part, all is well. I cannot complain.
That's dope. So on that note, we have a great show for you guys. There was something that I know, just real quick, that we was going to talk about. Taylor Swift. That was you was going to talk about that, right?
Oh yes, Taylor and Travis. They got engaged. So we love
Oh,
love. Yeah, we love love. I believe they got engaged on August 26th, and we didn't talk about it last show. But today we just wanted to say congratulations to Travis and Kelsey. Travis and Taylor, I should say, just on their engagement, and they seem to be they seem to be like the cutest little couple, and they seem to just really enjoy one another, right? So praying for that relationship to withstand the test of time, and well, I
I
guess we'll
love
see
it.
everything in
I love seeing her at the games. I know there's a lot of people, there was like a backlash. They didn't like her at the games or whatever. But listen, when you with a person and they play sports or whatever it is that they do, and you sitting up there supporting them, kudos to her. Okay, I love it, and she's cheering. You seen her in the stands, right? Cheering, so excited about her man and stuff like that. Even though I was rooting for the other team, I'm sorry, Taylor. Okay,
It's okay. It's okay.
sorry. But yeah, I do like Taylor Swift, and I'm just glad that she finally found her person.
Yeah, kissed a lot of frogs. We even know that in real life, right? You kiss a
Hmm.
lot of frogs before you find your Prince Charming. But as far as her supporting him, I think that's a wonderful thing. I remember supporting my late husband. He in his profession, I'm there doing everything. Helping him do, pull up the turntables, do all these things. I'm like, Lord, and just being his biggest cheerleader. And I think that that's important when you have someone who has goals and want to and they want to elevate. Your partner should assist you in elevating, right? They
Agreed.
shouldn't be there jealous that you're shining or whatever else, right? They should be there to elevate you. So I think that the fact that she is in the stands on the sidelines just going crazy for her beau, I love it. I love to see it, and I can't wait to see what comes next for them. So
I just want to say her husband was the best DJ ever. Okay, ever. You did not sit down. So,
yeah.
and yes, she did. go up there and help him every event. So kudos to you too, Boo.
Yeah, he was an amazing talent. You know,
Yeah.
it's definitely missed. He was definitely an amazing talent. But most of all, he was a gem of a person. So,
Yes.
but again, it's always good to help, and assist your significant other in whatever endeavors they have. Just be there and support. And I think that that's what Taylor is doing. So she has it down pat right now. So I'm excited for her, for
And that's
what's
good
to
for
come.
her.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get the show started. What are we talking about, Nicole?
All right. So Uber just rolled out, that people will now be able to pay for their rides with cash.
Oh,
That's an awesome thing because everyone don't have bank accounts, they don't have Cash App, they don't have credit cards in order for them to use this app.
yeah.
So when I seen this, I was like, oh, that's dope that they're aiming to do that because so many people who have to like ask you, how many people ask you, hey, can you I'm gonna send you the money, can you or I'm gonna give you the money, can you order me an Uber, you
Yeah.
know? So I
Yeah.
like it.
I like it. I think that it caters to the 1% that don't have bank accounts, right? I think it caters to that. My concern is the safety of the drivers because I remember being in New York, taking a taxi, giving cash, and they would always get robbed, right? There was
Mhm.
always something, and right now I feel as if the times have changed, and people really do not have regard for life. If they need, the people are starving out here, so I feel like it does open them up to certain risks when it
Mhm.
comes to carrying and accepting cash, right? However, I think it's a great idea, and I'm hoping that they would allow the drivers the option to accept cash or a
Pass.
card. I'm hoping they would allow them to do that because, especially in high risk areas,
Mhm.
you may not want your driver out there risking their life for $4 because sometimes your Uber is not a lot. Where I am, Uber
But
is
not
free.
$4.
Depends upon where they're going. But $9, $10. No, I don't want to
Yeah.
risk my life for that either.
Yeah, because
So
you took it back to Libra days when you
listen.
take
Oh,
care of $3
Continental.
Continental.
Listen, $5 taxis.
Yep.
So, and even remember, there was a certain time when we would take like the dollar vans, right? Because that
Mhm.
was a big thing in New York. Dollar vans. I don't
Mhm.
know where that was before, how it was anywhere
It's in
else. But
Jamaica.
yeah, so
We
we
were
used
Queens.
to take dollar vans, and sometimes those van drivers would be held up. Once everyone left off the van, they would get robbed in some cases. Where it became dangerous for them. So this right here is these are pedestrians or regular people, common people driving for Uber. I don't know. I'm afraid of that. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully it goes off well. But if I could get the options of accepting just cards, I will take that option hands down.
Um.
It's like
So
who in big ages does not have a bank account?
there's a lot of people that don't have bank accounts because you got to think about it. There's a lot of banks that are actually. This actually just recently happened to my daughter, my college student. Okay, she had an account with. I shouldn't say the branch, right?
No.
She had an account with the bank.
Hmm.
She opened the account because she started when she has a job when she's in school, and then when she came home, she works at a different location. That location is based off of tips, so she needed a place where she can deposit her money. Uh, her bank is still in New York. The bank that she has is not down where we are at this time. So she opens his account because she knows it's well known. It's everywhere wherever she travels. She knows she's able to obtain her money.
Hmm.
Well, why did these fools close her account? Didn't give her a reason, and then sent her a check. And then
Okay.
we found out they said it was because of the amount of cash that she was depositing. She was depositing tips, and when she opened the account, she told them, I work at such and such. My job consists of me receiving tips. Is it going to be a problem? And he was like, that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, so I guess they were worrying about money laundering, and I can understand that,
Probably.
right? The thing about this, though, what I'm saying is, in order to get a debit card, you can open their prepaid thing. Chime, you have Cash App has its own cards. You have Chime, you have Venmo even has a card. Stop, okay?
But you know they reject them too.
And there's some ways that you can do that, but like, come on.
I just found that out. I just found out that Cash App and all these other cards be rejected. It's like, let's say you got money in your account, and let's say the Cash App, they can block your access to your money
because it's still a bank. It's still FDIC insured, you know. So
right.
It's still a bank.
I don't know the reason,
but if you're doing there's certain activity that they will not allow you to do on those cards, and granted, you know, that they're right about that, because you have to protect the business and protect the integrity of the business. So I understand that, but like I said, like there's many avenues for people to go get a damn debit card, bank account. Whatever it is, you know, all of these prepaid people offer debit cards. So, but you know what? We'll see what happens with this. See how it comes off. Hopefully, it's successful. And you know, everybody is happy. But child, if you telling me that at 55 you don't have a bank account, I'm looking at you like I'm side-eyeing you, because
we're not going to side eye, because you don't know that person's situation and what happened in their life to prevent them from receiving what it is that normal adults will normally have at that age.
I'm side-eyeing. Okay.
I'm not going to side-eye you. I mean, you know, I would probably try to give you, like how Shaquana just gave other options. You know, you should do this because it is a good, you know, it's very good to have, you know, something, not just cash. I don't even know who use cash anymore.
Listen, you will never see me with $1 ever. Okay. And you know, so but sometimes, you know, like there's certain places that I'm not gonna say ever or never, because there's certain times where I need to use cash, and I'm like, and I know up front, I'm like, okay, let me go to the ATM and get cash out. You know, however, you know, it's very rare, because even carnivals accept cards now. Yeah, I tapped at the carnival this year, you know?
Really?
Hell yeah, I got my tickets. I tapped at that joint. So,
wow.
Yeah, like everybody's coming up to speed with this. Like, and some of the tickets, like they even give you like electronic, it's like an electronic card, like going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, nice.
They didn't even give me tickets. It was just an electronic card, and they put all my tickets on there, and that was it. And I went and I tapped it against the thing. Robot. Everybody's coming up electronic. You know, everybody's using the comforts of technology. So people need to stop. They need to go on and get what they need to get. But kudos to you, Uber, for trying to accommodate everyone out there in the world. So yeah, you know, hopefully it works out for Uber. You know, it's a great idea, I feel. But in this day and age, I don't know how that's going to go up. You know, go off. Hopefully it goes off without a hitch, but we'll see.
So I came across this post, right? It's kind of crazy. You know, it says that loneliness is now considered to be the next like deadly, more deadly or as deadly as smoking.
Loneliness.
Like 15 cigarettes. I'm sorry. I was trying to remember. So basically, let me just read it off. It says loneliness is now considered as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and Gen Z is facing it all record levels.
Oh, it's facing to that record
level. Sorry.
I can see that. I think that they, with social media and the other things that these kids, like everything is technology, everything, you know, I worry about their ability to have social skills, right? To develop social skills, because they're always on a game. They're always with their faces on social media. Like I call it like doom scrolling. They're always doom scrolling. Not I call it, but that's what my kids say. They say doom scrolling, because it's like it leads you to like never ending cycle of just scrolling and looking things up and watching other people's lives when life is happening outside and they are super concerned about other people's lives. We have some adults that's like that too, but we're not going to talk about it. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like I get that because they end up getting acclimated to being by themselves and having things to satisfy them on their own, by themselves. And it's like, okay, do I really need to talk to this person? Do I need to go outside? While we thrived off of going outside, it's a different time. What do you think?
And I also believe that the music, the music of today, or this in this area, because Gen Z is what 1997 to 2013, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about the music from that time and then going forward to now, it can be very depressing. Remember that young man who passed away? He actually committed suicide. What was his name? Oh my goodness.
Forgive me.
Everyone went crazy when it happened because he was on top in his music career, and he his music was like really, really slow. I can't believe I cannot think of his name right now. Like I can see his face, but I cannot think of what his name is.
And he was a young man.
He
was a young man.
It was a young man, yes.
Oh man.
Because a lot of these kids are having suicidal thoughts as well, and when they sit up there to themselves, doing only God knows what, because it's not always just the game. It's not always just scrolling. Sometimes they're just alone with their own thoughts.
Yeah, that's true. But it actually comes from like the superficial connections that they have, right? It's a decline in interpersonal communication.
Agreed.
There's a decline in that. So if you're, like I said, if you're always on the computer, sometimes there's a sense of comparison. You know how many kids out here compare themselves to people who one are editing their photos. What are actually, they may be successful, yes, but there's a comparison now where these kids have to they're competing with one another. And sometimes they can be competing with people who don't really have it like that. They just see what it is and then they want it. They want the life. And it's just so many superficial connections out there. And I feel that these kids are now, it brings them to a state of depression because they're like, okay, I wish my life was like this. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. But we had some situations where we may have wanted to have a little bit more than the normal than other people. When we see other people like, okay, I wish I had that, but we didn't do it to a sense of into like what do you call it? Just we were obsessed with other people's lives and wanting what they had, to the point where when they don't get it, they become depressed and then they disconnect completely from the real world. Where I tell my kids, you have the same 24 hours a day, just like someone else. If you want it, go after it and do it.
It's so crazy because they put this on the Gen Zs, right? But I don't think they're the only ones who have issues with this, because I actually know someone who is older, and they fall in the same category. Exactly what you just described, they fall in the same category, and they fell in a crazy depression state. So I think that it doesn't matter what age it is. I think just pay attention to your peoples. Make sure that if you see somebody who is staying to themselves, just try to engage with them to pull them out that shell, because we gotta help when we can.
Absolutely. But I think the issue with this is that if you think about Gen Z, this is saying that they're facing it at record levels, meaning that this hasn't been done before. Records are being shattered, of the amount of loneliness and depression. And we're talking Gen Z, so we're talking from as young as 13, 14 to about 28.
28.
That is a huge age gap, and two, that's kind of where you kind of know, you try to get to know who you are. At that stage, you get to know who you are. And then when you go off to college, because you're in your, you go off to high school, you go off to college, those are the times where you know who you are, or you try to develop your likes, dislikes. So if that's being stunted early, that's an issue.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's a huge issue. And that's where we get the most people with the, depression, anxiety, the comparison. I remember seeing a quote, and I don't remember who said it, but it said that comparison is the thief of joy. And it really is, because as you could sit there and compare yourself to someone else and compare your life to someone else's, you're missing some cool shit, right?
Oh my goodness.
Going on your own.
That is so true.
That's how I feel about it. And it's like, but so many kids are struggling with that, and now, like you said, adults are struggling with that as well. But sometimes it's because they're not even reared in the right direction. We have to. That's why it's important for us to make sure that our kids are reared in the right direction, because we didn't have that. We were able to go outside, but like you said, you have a friend who is dealing with that as well. But there's many reasons why, as an adult, you will deal with that. There are many reasons why.
I will say, just like you said, in regards to record levels, right? Yes. These are things that they wasn't tackling around our time, so they don't know how bad it was back then. They're just going through it right now with what they see right now, because when you take your kids to the doctor, that's one of the things. That's one of the questions they ask you to leave the room, so they ask your kid questions. They're trying to see if they're okay. Yeah. So if they was doing that back then you would see a lot of people that are suffering from anxiety, depression, all kinds of stuff.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It definitely, they definitely did it like during the annual physicals, whatever, right? Yep. They asked the child, how are they doing? How are they sleeping? They asked them that. And I think that's amazing, which I don't remember being asked that.
They didn't ask that.
So when I think about it, like, Nicole, you're absolutely right. We would never ask that. Even our parents, they didn't even really ask us, how you sleeping? Are you okay? I find myself asking my children, are they okay? Almost
all the time.
2 or 3 times. Are you okay? Are you good? And it's not because I'm worried about them, but it's because I want them to know that they can come and talk to me if there is something that is not okay.
That part right there. Yeah. Yes.
Wow, but this is crazy, but I can see it because of the level of social media interactions, the level of people like to stay in the house. Like, kids don't even want to go outside now. They're like, oh, I'm bored. Okay, go outside. What's outside? Everything. Like, go ride a bike, go play basketball.
I'm glad that my kids actually went outside. Just, how we were outside. They used to outside, read their bikes, make sure you home before the street lights come on. Nice. Seeing them running across, all their friends running, because you know what? Because they can stand in front of our house.
Exactly.
As long as you here before that street, don't let the street lights catch you.
Exactly.
You need to be right here. So I instilled all that with my kids. I let them go outside. They rode their bikes. They did everything. They explored. I'm glad my kids, they do play the video games, but they didn't stay on the video games. I made sure they went outside, because it's very important that these kids get outside and socialize with their peers.
Absolutely. So important. And I'm hoping that, going forward, these levels change, but I don't know. I don't know, as technology becomes more advanced, people could now do AI and be who the hell they want to be.
Oh, I don't like that.
Behind an image, right? Behind an image. They can take somebody else's face and become them.
I don't like that.
I've seen that happen. People taking other people's content using AI. So they can do all these different things. Oh, but they could be that person for that time. But when they go back home, or when they're in them by themselves, it becomes something different, but It's crazy, but I get it. I understand it. Hopefully, like I said, that changes because it's sad. I don't like to see stuff like that,
Not
But
at all.
it's true. It's very true. That human connection, technology and human connection. You know what I think it was exacerbated by? The pandemic.
Mm, yeah,
The pandemic
see
really
that. Made it
showed
worse.
how
Yeah,
many people suffer in
yeah,
their homes, just being able to socialize and being able to have an emotional connection with another person. Husbands and wives were breaking up.
Girl, in my head right now. Cause I'm like, how many divorces came because of the pandemic? Like they couldn't even stand their mates.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I was with my husband at the time during the pandemic, and we were rocking out. We were having a good time. We having parties. We having watch parties in the house. We were doing all types of things. So like my pandemic experience was different than someone else's. But I think that like the things came out during that mental health. A
Yeah,
lot of people's mental health was tried and tested during that time. So yeah,
crazy.
it was a lot. But so hopefully, those levels drop and we get back to a sense of normalcy. Hopefully, we'll see.
Okay, so since we're talking about Gen Z, we do have some information, some devastating news about a Gen Zer. A 16-year-old boy was fatally shot in his home. It was sad because what ended up happening was he came home and he came through the back door, and his mother's boyfriend thought that the house was being robbed, and he shot through the door, fatally killing him. But what I don't like is what because clearly that's an accident, that's an accident. But apparently the mother's boyfriend, he ran. They're still looking for him right now. So I'm
Hmm.
like, why would you run though?
It's an accident, but there may be some more to that story. When did this happen?
This happened yesterday. Well, I
Yesterday.
heard about it yesterday. So yeah, it was all over social media yesterday. In
Um,
DeKalb County in Georgia.
okay, on Sunday, on Wednesday, or we're talking
On
Sunday,
Sunday.
on a Sunday. So it happened the Sunday before. Okay. All right. So we know that he shot him because he thought there was a burglar coming through the door, which valid. The problem is that he ran, right? And it's
That's
like,
the problem.
why did you run? What
Yeah.
happened? What made you run? Maybe he had a record. Maybe he had the gun was not registered.
They don't have to be registered in the state.
Okay. Oh, okay. So come on,
Yeah.
talk to me, Nicole. Talk
Yeah,
to
you
me.
can. You can in this state. It is open to carry. You don't have to have a license to carry. So
Ooh, okay.
now, if he had a body on the gun, maybe because to me, okay, I understand why you did it. I understand that the reason for the accident
Yeah, yeah.
because the reason was it,
That's
it
justified.
happens in
Justified.
the state. So yeah, so I understand that, but the part of you running, I don't like it didn't say anything about the mother being home. So I don't know if the mother was home. I don't know if because that's devastating. So okay, not only did you shoot and kill her son, now you ran.
Mm,
You
that's
know, that's unacceptable. Like even though it's an accident, like you left the scene of a crime, sir. You harmed yourself on that one. Because that could have been cleared up with, okay, I understood because he came through the back door, not the front door.
Yeah, something real off about it. Like, how how our girl says something in the milk ain't clean. So I'm pretty sure things will come out. More information is going to come out in regards to why he ran, and there may be some other things that's surface because it just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound. I can understand, and I understand that, but being on the run for this, that it's clearly a case of mistaken identity. That's how I look at that, right? It's not a burglar, it's the person that actually lives there. So clearly a case of that. But there's something else going on here that they'll probably uncover soon. So our condolences go out to the family, friends, of that teen that was shot in Atlanta, because that's horrible. 16 years old.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough for a parent to stomach. At the hands of your lover. Mm, that's tough for a parent to stomach. I don't know what I would do if yeah, I don't know. I don't even want to think about that. So I mean, but oh gosh, oh, I don't know what would you say? What could you do? What could you say?
I mean, I don't even know. I can't even like fathom.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what to say about it because listen, let's just go on to the next one.
Yeah, it's tough, right? That's a tough thing,
Yeah,
life cut short for sure. And I don't think they released his name as of yet, but
no, they
it,
didn't.
it's a sad situation. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends of that 16-year-old who was shot mistakenly in Atlanta. Well, you already know that we get in these relationships sometimes that we want to keep them sacred. Sometimes we'll say like, you hear those sayings like keep it secret, keep it safe. They can't ruin what they don't know, right? We get all of these different sayings out there because people have had past experiences where once they introduce their significant other to friends or family, things go haywire in the relationship. So we have another topic today, and it's regarding that topic, is regarding that situation with not introducing your friends and your family to your significant other.
Okay,
What
now
do you think about that, Nicole?
um, I'm like half and half on it. I do understand why people don't, because I'm all for keeping my private lives private.
Mhm.
Okay, and I would say people do it so like until you understand, you have that understanding, that knowledge that this person is not going anywhere. That's when you start introducing them to your close friends. When I say close friends, I mean your like your ride or die, and
Yeah,
your family.
yeah.
Come to family events and stuff like that. But on the other note of that, you have people who do that because they also have other people. They got people in third party situations, four party situations, yada yada yada, right? So, and then there's always going to be a main, and then there's always going to be a side person. So that could be the situation too. What's your thoughts?
For me, I think that whether it's someone's in the third party or fourth party or fifth party, whatever it is, once it gets to fourth or fifth, that's polygamy, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
as long as everyone's on board with that, then that's okay. It's when no one knows about it. That's the problem. But
Taking people
uh,
choices away.
yeah, exactly. When they're literally on no face, no case in every
Yes.
relationship, right? That's
Yeah.
that's insane. But I think it's okay to not so much hide it, and I'm not going to say hiding. I'm going to say like protect it. I think it's important to
Yes.
protect your relationship and protect your foundation. I think it's important to do that. Not everything needs to be broadcasted. Not
Right.
everything needs to be out in the open with everyone to see. I feel like anything that you love, you protect, right? So in this case, that's where I'm going with that.
Can I say something on what you just said? So
Absolutely.
I noticed that a lot of people who sit there and they post a person on everything, you know, that doesn't mean that that person is happy. That's them showing, hey, this my man. Hey, we're happy, and they're not happy at all. And then if you notice the person who is in a long term relationship or meeting somebody and they are actually happy, they're very reserved. You know, they're posting, but you know, and they're posting their situations, but you never see their person because there's a lot of people who hate on the situations, and you don't want to, you know, add that to your relationship. You don't want to include that negative energy on you, right?
Exactly.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut in on your.
No, you good. I mean, what you're saying is correct. Listen, let's talk about it and let's be real. Let's have a real conversation, okay? Us on this platform right now, just talking about it, people look at us and have bad things to say, right? They always, you know, there's always something, you know, what people always going to talk about something. I don't want to bring my mate into that, okay? And I'm pretty sure that he doesn't want to bring me in that. Did I just say that I had a mate? Mm. So manifest that. Yes, hey. So I would not want to bring I wouldn't want to bring my mate into that situation. You know, I like I said, I protect what I love. And there's certain things that I post now. I'm like so cognizant of what I'm posting now, and what I let people see, because that evil eye is serious, one. And then like people just like you say, hate on it, hate on your relationship, hate on you in some cases. And I just don't we get enough of that on a regular. We don't need to have that in our relationship, you know, or bring that smoke to the relationship. It's a lot, you know. It's a lot.
And people, I know this is off topic, but if there's something going on in your relationship, please stop posting it. Negative, I mean, we don't need to know about it because you guys are going to make up. Okay, y'all gonna make up, and don't nobody need to know when y'all breaking up and making up. Just keep it what it is, and that's it.
Facts. Well, no, and then the other part to that is, if you want to argue publicly, I need you to let us know how it happened. What happened after that? Like, keep us informed, because we have our popcorn and be ready. And I don't need you to be upset that we're all in your business. No, you put your business out there. I need to know the outcome. I need to know what happened.
You know, we want to clap for you guys. You know, we want to, you know, cheer y'all on. And then if it goes the other way, it's like, hey, you know, it's all right.
Yeah, listen,
I've had people, let me stop.
I've had people break up, you know, and I don't really follow. Like, okay, I'm bad at this. If you don't show up on my news feed, like, I don't go to pages. I don't know what's going on. So people are like, oh, I posted that on Facebook. Sorry, I didn't see it. Well, I posted it on Instagram. Oh, my bad, because I don't do that. If it doesn't show up on my immediate scroll, I don't care. Right? That's how I feel.
No, it's just, listen. You know what I mean? We have what's called a real life. We got jobs. We don't stay on social media. So when we get on, whatever's there, oh, okay, and then we're off.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like,
green light. That's not us. We are not on.
Like, you see, like, I'll leave a comment or two, oh, whatever, and then I roll out. Like, I'm not doing anything, you know. But it's just it's funny when I see people who were in a happy relationship. It was great, and I see them off the grid for a minute, and they come back with somebody new. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. This is what we doing. I see you. You know, I love that.
I'm confused though. I ain't gonna lie, because I don't know nothing that's going on. I be like, you don't want to ask that question because you don't want to be in people's business and stuff. You be like, I'm so confused.
I'll take my phone. I'll be like, is that the same? And I just like, oh no, it's not. Oh, okay. And keep it pushing. All the pictures from that person is going off the page. I'm like, oh wow.
That's celebrity. That's celebrity status right there.
Okay. Glad you're happy.
No time for that.
Look, glad you're happy. None of my business. I have no nickels in that dime. So I really don't care. As long as you're happy, I'm good. You know,
I like how you said that, because we really, really don't care.
That part, you know. So I think some people, and I think that some people over exaggerate their importance in other people's lives. You
Ooh,
know, where they think that you're actually checking for them, but you're really not. You're like, okay, I don't even know what's going on with you, and I really don't care because you're not in my circle like that. So I
yeah.
really don't. I don't. I'm not going to check for you. I'm not going to do any of that. And I think that,
Actually.
yeah.
I'm
So
sorry.
we get on topic. Hiding a relationship by not introducing to family and friends. So I think it's important to protect your relationship. I think it's important to do so, and I feel as if there's someone who's upset that you've decided to maintain a level of privacy or set boundaries, then that relationship needs to be reevaluated, especially if you let them know why you're doing it and they still push and pry and spy. I feel like that relationship needs to be evaluated, you know, going forward, because no one should be upset if you want to keep your private life private.
Private.
Why
Yeah,
do I
there's,
even have to
there's
say
nothing
that?
wrong with that.
No one should be upset if you want to do that. If you don't want to share, they should not be upset. I think it's just more so protecting it to make sure that you're good. Because who wants to have a relationship for 3 to 6 months, going out, telling all your friends and stuff about him, and then it don't work. It's like, oh, then what happened to him or her? Oh, they're gone. Sorry.
Well, I
You
mean,
know what?
listen. Oh, you got people like that though. You have people that take everybody around their peoples.
And some people,
Everybody.
yeah, they want to vet. They probably want to vet them, and I understand the logic, but at the same time, it makes you look crazy. Like, and if you don't trust yourself, you don't trust your intuition, and you don't know what's best for you, then nothing's gonna work. You have to figure out what's best for you first, what you like, and then go forward. Because I can understand getting opinions from other people, but to
Mhm.
base your relationship on someone else's opinion all the time is insane.
I, this person who I'm about to mention. It's an ex-boyfriend. He used
Hmm.
to bring all of his new girlfriends to my house, so the family can sit there and let him know if they were good or not. So he wouldn't take them to his family house. He would take them to my family house. It was like two birds with one stone, okay? It was to bring the new girl in front of me, but I didn't care.
Hmm.
And to also get the opinions of my mother and my grandmother,
Hmm.
and whoever else was around at that moment. But I was like, that didn't make no sense.
Makes no sense. We know the reason why that was done.
Yes.
Nothing to do with the opinions of anybody else but yours. Stop. Okay.
But
So, but it is what it
when you realize that, oh, she really don't care because she's not paying attention, or she got somebody else herself. Like, why do you continue to do it? Like, people do weird things for weird reasons, but
is. Absolutely.
there are also guys and girls who are out there, um, cheating on their person. So you can't be in an exclusive relationship with everyone, you know. And Shaquana had already mentioned this. If you have multiple partners, you need to let every last one of them know that there is someone else. I'm not saying you gotta give them details of who the person is and stuff like that,
Mhm.
but you gotta let them know. Listen, we are dating. I am seeing someone else. And if you're intimate with those people, then make sure you wear condoms.
Yeah, I don't know about
You
being
know,
intimate with two people at a time. That's insane. The
you
same
do
thing. If I'm talking to multiple people, I'm withholding from somebody.
it.
Like I'm withholding.
Ain't
You.
nobody getting nothing, not even a kiss. I'm sorry.
I'm withholding. I'm withholding. Yeah, and pretty sure they'll move on. But if they keep pressuring me, I'm like, oh damn, I gotta drop this person.
Yes, because
It's like, oh
I'm really
yeah.
big on who, like, you can't just come in and get up in here, okay? I'm
Mm,
really, really, um this is my sacred
I'm
space.
stingy with my love.
Yes, okay, this is mine.
Yeah.
And I don't interact with people like that. So if I'm giving it, if I decide that you're that person, trust and believe you are the only person.
Yeah.
And for that person that you're dealing with to sit there and be given to other people, that's very disrespectful. That's very distasteful. The loyalty, the like, listen, and I said this to you before. I used to always say I'm all about honesty, right? But right now, I'm all about transparency. Okay? Like, you don't need to lie about certain things that's going on. Trust me, I'm a big ass woman. I'm a grown behind woman. It is okay if you decide certain things. Just don't take my choice away. Because if you say certain things to women, there are some women that decide that, okay, I really like you and I want to stick this out. Let's see where this go. You know? And then there's also women like, listen, I'm only about monogamous, so therefore, I appreciate you telling me. Thank you, but no thank you. I wish you were the best. But don't take their choice away. That's where the problem comes at. That's where and then the dudes be like, oh, she crazy. No, she not crazy. What did you do? And it's not just men. There are women too. Because we're not going to just put this out on men. I'm known. I am a woman, so I speak from a woman's standpoint. But Shaquana, chime in here. Like, what's your thoughts on that one? Because I think we already touched base on this before, but it is what it is. Like, we are grown women. Stop sitting up there, because when you sit there and make these women think that it's just you and them, you're tearing them down. Like, literally tearing them down. And that's what you say?
No, I agree. I agree with you in that, we have spoken about this multiple times, in regards to transparency and making the relationship status known.
Mm-hmm.
I think
within each other. It doesn't matter about anywhere else.
I feel as if there are people who say that they can handle that type of open relationship, and then they become it means something different to them later on down the line. So it becomes a challenge for that person who is trying to be transparent, but the other person is not really receptive to it anymore. So that's where it becomes a challenge. So that's when you just leave that person alone. But for the most part, whether getting back on topic, whether you're hiding a relationship from your family or friends, like, it just depends on what the reason is. If you're seeing multiple people, then I think that that's important to do so. You don't want to introduce your family and friends to all these people. If there's a conversation between you and your mate, listen, we're not going to introduce each other to our people. We have until we know that this is for real. So you have that, that common. You want to have that conversation in regards to it, and you guys decide how it goes. But you're right on so many different levels when it comes to having multiple partners at a time, and not letting that person know that that's what the scenario is. That's a little off-putting. Actually, no, it's a lot off-putting, because you need to let people know what you're doing, and if you're actually having intercourse with multiple people, that becomes a problem, because you're now opening up yourself to so many different diseases and and illnesses, and that's not cool. And then you're potentially putting your partner at risk as well. So,
agreed.
Right there. So, all right. Well, with that being said, we just want to thank y'all so much for watching Real Conversation. Okay. Make sure that any relationship you're in, making sure that y'all are on the same page with everything. And go when you're first meeting people, you're just dating and things of that nature. But having those necessary conversations, they're like, remember when we went to go see the podcast, tonight's conversation, and that's like
yeah.
I love that. And there were real people coming up to the mic and just asking questions. And then they also had these cards that you can play, relationship cards that you can play with your mate. And I thought that was pretty cool, because, it allows you to ask the questions that you want to know, the burning questions, but in a safe space, in a playful setting, So if you are just meeting someone, maybe try doing that, because that'll tell you they had some really cool questions on there that will allow you to get to know the person, right? And then figure out, okay, is this somebody that I really want to be with? Because I think there was a question like, are you a crash out? I need to know if you are, you can't handle your emotions. I need to know, right? So I think that it's a wonderful option. So if you haven't done so, if you're in a new relationship, even in a seasoned relationship, utilizing those cards can let you know your partner a lot better. Get to know them, or reintroduce yourself to that partner, or just to kind of get to know them. So
I mean, they have other. It's not just Tonight Conversation. If you go on to like Amazon and look up relationship games or what a couple games or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of things on there, so you can get to know your partner. You know, and it doesn't matter if you're just dating. Like you can be in a committed relationship for like 200 years. It's still good because you got to, you know, reintroduce yourself to your partner every few years, you know, because we all change, we grow. If you're not changing, I mean, like stagnant, and there's a problem there. So
that's true. That's so true. And that's what I was saying. You know, it's good for you to reintroduce yourself to the partner that you currently have, or just kind of get to know the partner that you are that you just met. So I feel like, you know, there's a bunch of cards, like you said, on Amazon, other outlets, in Target, you know,
Etsy.
Etsy as well. Yes. So there's so many places where you can find these cards, and they're basically conversation pieces, which
Yes.
I like that. So again, thank you so much for watching Real Conversation. I'm your host, Quana Terry.
And I'm your host, Nicole Jones.
And you can find us every Thursday night, Eastern Standard Time at 8 p.m. On YouTube. We premiere live. It's real_convos_podcast. And we also premiere live on Facebook. Nicole, where are those channels?
At Real Conversations 2021, as well as Real Conversations.
All right. So thank you so very much for watching, and God bless.